What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay with Unfair Sports, and I want to tell you why I hate your NBA team this coming season. All that coming up in 20 seconds. Yo, what's good? Jay, Unfair Sports. We're trying to take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. Let's dive into why I hate your team. Speaking of Achilles, the next team we got is the Houston Rockets. Now, Houston does have a problem. They just traded Russell Westbrook away to Washington for John Wall, who's coming off of not playing for roughly 2 years due to an Achilles injury. Probably the worst injury you can have for a player whose game is explosion. And the other guy, their other main guy, has returned looking about 30 pounds overweight and also not wanting to be there. Add a pissed off PJ Tucker because they don't want to pay the man for all the dirty work he does. Got yourself a team that's about to implode. Don't worry, all the rumors are true. Houston is trying to trade him. They're going to trade Harden at some point. They have to. You can't keep a guy around like that that's going to piss off certain players that you know will probably start fighting him. Especially if you don't want to pay that player that you know will probably fight him because you don't want to pay him. And the other guy doesn't want to show up to practice on time. That's your issue in Houston, guys. It's just drama. That's it. So Houston, if you want to try this out, if you want to YOLO it out and see if you can make it happen, good luck. But to be honest, your best bet is to go ahead and trade the man. Find a good deal, get some young assets, build around John Wall for now because of his contract so big, you ain't got much of a choice, and go from there. It ain't gonna work though. This ain't the year for you. Next up, Indiana Pacers. So, rumor has it Victor Oladipo was telling opposing teams that he wants to come play with them. If this is true, my goodness, they are screwed. If these allegations are false, my goodness, they are really screwed. Just the fact that these rumors got circulated has probably already imploded their locker room. TJ Warren had a great bubble. Players are ready for him now. They know that when a top player drops, someone's got to pick up the slack and score the points. TJ Warren seems to be that guy. Teams are going to zero in on him moving forward. Plus, it looks like Oladipo has checked out. He claims that he wants to stay and blah, say, blah, say, blah. But I don't see this marriage staying together, and eventually he will be out of Indiana. Because of that, the team won't get it together. They're dunskies. Next up, the LA Clippers. The other tenant of the Staples Center. The question we have to ask ourselves about them is this. Wait, before I do that, I need to put the disclaimer out there that I take zero responsibility for everything I'm about to say and everything that the Clippers are going to do. Mainly because the Clippers take zero responsibility for anything and everything they do within their locker room, which is the reason why we're here today. They got eliminated in the playoffs after everyone picked them and crowned them the champions of the 2019-2020 season. Well, the tides turned really, really quickly when their two main players decided that they didn't know how to shoot the basketball anymore and couldn't make a shot in the second half of an elimination game. And gave up a 20-point lead. I'm just saying, their loss to the Denver Nuggets was so bad that they've already started getting stray bullets from rappers here in 2020. Go listen to Freddie Gibbs. He took a good shot at him. And I think a few others also as well. So that tells you something. They're not the team that we thought they were going to be. The locker room is in shambles. They lost Montrezl Harrell, who is the reigning sixth man, mainly because the locker room is in shambles. Not sure what Sweet Lou's going to be able to do. He may go get some more lemon pepper wings, or he may go out there and dominate. Not sure yet. But overall, this team is not built to be a championship contender just yet. The good thing is, though, they did sign Paul George to a long-term contract. That means they can definitely trade him just like they did Blake Griffin. Ah, the defending champions and the other tenants of the Staples Center, the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, let me ask you this question. Having too many good players, is that a bad thing? Can you have too good players? I mean, maybe. especially if you go back to the history of the Lakers with their stacked rosters and how things quickly imploded. Now we know that LeBron and Anthony Davis have a great relationship, as both of them have signed long-term extensions to stay together. But the question is what are the supporting cast going to look like? Now, LeBron is built as a player that can will a team to the playoffs and to the finals, as we've seen that throughout his entire career. But at a certain point, you're going to need help, especially the way that other teams are stacking their rosters. The NBA is an arms race. The guys with the best players are the ones that are going to win. Not really the best chemistry, but the best players and the chemistry. You have to have both. And I'm not sure that the Lakers are going to have both of them just yet. Probably will prove me wrong, as they did last year. Even though I picked them to win the championship last year because I don't like betting against LeBron. But I'm telling you guys why I hate your team. And the reason why I hate your team specifically is I don't know what they're going to look like with all of these good players trying to fight over one basketball. They all sacrifice together. They got this. But that's never a guarantee, as we saw with the Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant team. The Memphis Grizzlies. High-flying, hard-working, super scrappy. Everything that the Grizzlies used to be, they still are. Even without Zach Randolph, they still have that grit and grind type of mentality, even though they are a little bit more finesse and ballerific, as I just made up something random. Is that enough to get this team over the hump? Nah, too young. Youth usually sets in when you get into the playoffs, as we saw example with them last year in the bubble. Injuries did play a part, but they also didn't play very well down the stretch, and that got them knocked out of the playoffs. That right there, my friends, it's not going to be enough to keep you going. But the good thing is the way this young core is playing, it seems like they're actually going to stay around because they seem like they like each other. And if they like each other and they plan on staying around each other, this could be a beautiful future. But that's going to be what it is, a beautiful future. All right, now we've got the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler really willed this team to the NBA Finals. Add in Gordon Dragic, the way that he played, and then the young duo, Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. Man, they have all the pieces needed to continue said run. They've got a few problems. The East is a little bit more stacked this year. Certain players have made their valiant return, former Finals MVPs and MVPs. So because of that, we have to now see if this team is built to even hang with them before we talk about everybody else. Then you also put into play the rumors of Tyler Hero being placed in the trade block with James Harden. Now, Miami has said that they won't give him up, and then rumor has it they will give him up. That's going to be enough to really shake him up, as well as the regularly scheduled sophomore slump. So don't expect the man to have that great of a year. Doesn't make him a bad player, but all players end up having a sophomore slump, especially when teams really start paying attention to you and their quote-unquote defensive coordinator coaches start to scheme around you and do things to really irritate you. I can see Tyler not having that great of a year this coming season. And to be honest, those shooters, him and Duncan Robinson, are key and critical to what their operation is. Grit and grind with Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, and then shooting from those two are the things that's going to be key and critical to move them forward. And I don't see that happening. Plus, you got to ask yourself, can they also stay healthy? Their identity is grind. Their identity is hard work. So they have the identity thing down. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to move them past a said team up there on the East. Up next, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. Congratulations, Milwaukee fans. Guess what you guys did? You got Giannis Antetokounmpo to sign a long-term extension after his rookie extension, which is really hard to do for most teams. Typically, you only get that done if you win a championship. And they were able to get it done. He says it's his home. This is where he wants to play. Cool story. But the question is, you're coaching. Are you guys going to be able to really shift and change things up whenever things aren't going very well? It was a really good trade getting Drew Holiday, but you guys actually dangled Dante DiVincenzo, White Dante, the big ragu, the Michael Jordan of Delaware, in a trade to Sacramento? Oh man, y'all just basically put yourself in a hex. Y'all have just eliminated yourselves from the playoffs. Y'all have eliminated yourselves from championship contention because you don't do that to Dante DiVincenzo. But we'll let it slide for now. But I have to ask you, are you guys ready for the Miami Heat? The Drew Holiday pickup might have been nice to give you some oomph on the defensive side, but I don't know what you guys are going to look like offensively when everybody keys in on Giannis and forces him to do the one thing he's not that great at just yet, which is shooting. Next up, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. You have Karl Anthony Towns, Big Cat. You have D'Angelo Russell, deloading. And then you drafted a guy who doesn't really like basketball in Anthony Edwards. I'm not sure that's a good recipe to win anything, especially in the West. The issue I have with the Timberwolves is, y'all got this roster. That's period. It doesn't look like a team that's going to be built to do much. How are you guys going to handle losing? How are you guys going to handle winning? Will you guys be able to mesh well? What's the chemistry going to look like? Your identity is you have Karl Anthony Towns, who doesn't even go on the post. He shoots threes. How does that work? We have a guy that's as talented as Karl Anthony Towns in the post who doesn't want to go in the post. Does that sit well in the West? Does that help you guys out, opening up the paint for somebody else to drive? Who do you guys have that's going to do that? You got back Ricky Rubio, so you got a point guard. So that means D'Angelo Russell can play off the ball, but is that a good thing? For me and my crew, I got to give it a couple years and see what Anthony Edwards is. A couple of years. Next up, got the New York Knicks. Does James Jones still own the team? I rest my case. Next up on the docket, New Orleans Pelicans. Hey man, health has always been the looming question for the New Orleans Pelicans. Point blank, period. Ever since they changed their name to Pelicans in 2013. They've had Anthony Davis for all of that time, and Anthony Davis was up and down the injury list. Same thing with other players on their roster. Drew Holiday. And because of that, we don't know what they're going to look like this year with Zion Williamson, who was out last year due to what? An injury. Health is going to be their biggest problem. But overall, their roster is pretty nice. They did bring in Stan Van Gundy, but the fact that David Griffin actually trusted his team with Stan is kind of questionable in my opinion. Now, Zion looks great coming in, losing all that weight. Looks like he's dropped a good 30, and I guess James Harden ate it. But you should be excited about Pelicans basketball, but I don't see Pelicans basketball going past the first round if they make the playoffs. I mean, we did see what Stan Van Gundy did in Detroit with his young team at that point. I'm not sure what made y'all think this was another opportunity, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see with everything because Zion is a man amongst childs. He really is the big man on campus. So let's see if he can bring this team together and do it. But I still don't trust anything that's going on in that organization yet. Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. This is the reason why I hate your teams. Doesn't mean none of your teams can win it. I just don't like certain things about everybody. So let us know in the comments what you think. And we will go from there. Good luck this season. We'll have a pod out soon. Talk to you guys in a few days. Peace.